share with you guys. I'm actually going to read you guys got this week, which is pretty cool. Share a couple of quick thoughts with you guys, and then we're going to open it up. So we'll probably have a few more people here that will jump on the next. But let's pray real quick and get started. I'm going to share a couple of things, and then we'll open up for Q&A. So if you guys have questions, just write them down or throw them in the chat box right now, and then we'll just take them in the order they come in. Either write them down and ask them live, or throw it in the chat, and we'll get to them. But I'm going to pray real quick as we get this party started. All right, God, I thank you for every single person here. God, I thank you for pastors and church leaders that you have called into ministry. God, I thank you for the full-time ministry folks. I thank you for the people that are bivocational right now, God, that are hustling and pastoring your sheep. God, I pray that you would do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that they could ask or imagine, both in this meeting and through this program that we're using. God, I pray that you would give them the resources that they need. You would bring the people that they need into their lives. God, I think for every single person, God, I think they have the mind of Christ, Lord. They can figure anything out, Lord. And I pray that you would bless this time together, this short window that we have. God, I pray that you would use me to be able to help get this message out, God. And I pray that you would use them and help them to be able to mastermind with each other to kind of figure out what's working, what's not working, and how we can make this thing better so that we can reach more people in our cities and make it harder for people to go to hell. God, we thank you. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so a couple of quick things I wanted to share with you guys real quick. First thing is kind of a cool testimony. We got a text message from a pastor this week who they were running about 100 people. They started running some Facebook ministry ads at Christmas, and they had 137 2 weeks ago, and then sent out a broadcast this past week and had 151 on Sunday. So literally running about 100 people when they started doing this at Christmas, have been just being faithful and reaching a bunch of people going through next steps and growth track and joining the church. 137 2 weeks ago, and then 151 people this past Sunday, which is just awesome, right? So now this guy ran has been running Facebook ads in another one of our programs for a while. So his city already knows, likes, and trusts him. He's been around for a while. This isn't the first time he's running Facebook ads, but with this new iteration of ads that he started running at Christmas, they've been growing like crazy, which is just awesome. So I want to encourage you guys, right? Like, man, keep going, right? Like you can do this when you start investing in people, and you are taking time punching holes in the darkness in your city, making it hard for people to go to hell from your city through the Facebook ads, through the audio prayers, and just loving on people, right? You can affect life change. That's where, we have stories coming all the time of people who decided not to commit suicide because they answered one of these ads and prayed with a pastor that's in the program. We have numerous accounts of people getting saved through Facebook and all kinds of really, really cool stories. So I want to share that with you guys, but I also wanted to read you guys specifically. This is a message I got, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. It was a personal message, but I want to share it with you guys, and I'll tell you why right afterwards. So this came in. So for those of you guys who know me, I was in youth ministry for 15 years, and I was on staff at another church for about 5 years as a youth pastor. And one of the kids that I haven't talked to in years randomly messaged me while I was at a conference here last week. So here's what he said: "Hey Chris, you may or may not remember me. I remember all my youth kids, but they all start that, right? Mayor, I saw your story and got hit with a wave of memories from church camp, and I wanted to say I'm extremely happy to see you succeeding, enjoying yourself, and that you haven't changed a bit since we last met, which was like 5 years ago. I wanted to thank you for being a genuine and phenomenal mentor for me and everyone else at Faith Church. I didn't fully understand what it meant to have faith at the time, but I feel like I'm really getting into the groove of it now. You inspired me to take on my music career and never look back, not because I knew that's what I wanted at the time, but because of the atmosphere you created for all of us during service. Your confidence, your passion, and your ability to make people feel a part of the stories you tell us through your own experiences or scripture, all while singing on stage and bringing everyone together. That's what really inspired me. I've watched a lot of superheroes in my lifetime, and you deserve to know that you were one of mine. I hope you, Rachel, and your family are receiving nothing but love and positivity, and that we may cross paths again. Much love and God bless." Now, the reason I wanted to share with you guys, even though that was a personal one for me, is this is a guy who's been going through life for the last 5 years. We haven't talked, we haven't done anything, but he, like, and full disclosure, I started crying as soon as I read this, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, like pretty vulnerable. But it reminded me why we do this, right? Like I haven't thought about that kid in a long time, right? I met him 10 years ago. I haven't seen him in at least 5 years, but here he is carrying that same, like, man, I've seen a lot of superheroes in my time, and you deserve to know you are one of my superheroes, right? And so the reason I want to bring that up is because you are a superhero to some people in your life, right? Obviously, I think probably like your spouse and your kids, but understand there are people that you probably haven't thought about in years that you're a superhero to them. You have influence in their lives. And I want to take that into like these prayer requests as you're talking to people, understand that the impact that you have, like, so that kid, his name's War, which is a pretty cool name. And it's actually his real name is War. But the thing about War, like he doesn't remember, like he didn't say, hey, I remember the sermon that you preached that changed my life. He doesn't remember that. He doesn't even probably remember most of the stories I told, right? But what he remembers is how I made him feel, right? He remembers how we made him part of the services through the stories that we would tell and music that we'd sing and that kind of stuff. So that's what it is. People don't remember what you tell them. They remember how you make them feel. So understand, like when you are sending these audio prayers and you're actually going in there and you're talking to people, they're not going to remember like how you prayed for them, right? Or what you said. They're not going to remember everything that you're sending like through Messenger. What they're going to remember is how you make them feel. So just remembering that this is why we do what we do, right? Like it's just kind of getting back to, there was that song years ago, The Heart of Worship, right? I'm coming back to the heart of worship. The verse like, hey, when the music fades and all is stripped away, right? It's like, when we get everything, just kind of coming back to the heart of worship. I feel like for me, one of the great things about like these ministry ads, especially the prayer ads, is it's kind of a call back to ministry, right? Like we're not talking about Facebook's algorithms and learning all this different marketing stuff and all this other stuff, right? Like social media and engagement, blah, blah, blah. Screw all that crap, right? Like what we're actually doing, this is just a call back to ministry. This is why we got into it in the first place, right? Like I don't know about you guys, but I was called into full-time ministry when I was 13 years old, about a month after I'd given my life to Christ at a youth camp, right? And my life has never been the same. But I think back to those times, like, man, the whole reason I got into this, the whole reason I wanted to go into ministry was just to help people, right? And that, like, sometimes it's messy, right? Like when people are asking for rides, or they're asking for money, or they're, having chronic pain or sickness, or they're going through some marriage stuff, or their kids are sick, or they're getting ready to have surgery, whatever it is, those people are going through stuff, right? Like they're going through storms, man. And we have the answer because we have Jesus, right? Those people, they're not going to remember what we say to them. They're going to remember how we make them feel. So just taking some time out to treat them like rock stars and literally just say, like, man, I see you. Right? Like I see you. God sees you in your pain, in your situation, whatever you're going through, like God sees you, right? And so you are all the Jesus that a lot of these people are ever going to meet and ever going to see until they give their lives to Christ and pursue him and have their own relationship with him. So I just want to encourage you guys, just remember what a big deal this is, right? There are tons of people who have similar stories, like the one War just texted me, for you in your life that you have no idea, right? We're going to walk in, when we get to the other side of eternity, people are going to be walking up to us in heaven, literally saying, you have no idea, like, you may not remember me, but, right? And so I just want to encourage you guys, don't lose sight of that, and don't forget what an impact this is. This is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll open it up for questions. But I was praying, and the Lord spoke to me here about 2 weeks ago, and he just said, Chris, you don't understand what a huge impact you guys are having in the kingdom. Right? And he was showing me, he said, what you guys are doing, our office is in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, right? So he said, what you guys are doing from that office on Main Street in Broken Arrow is echoing in eternity, and it's having a ripple effect through heaven. And man, it got me a little bit emotional, because sometimes, right, for what we do, like we've helped over, at this point, over 300 churches in 5 different countries with prayer ads, and we're constantly innovating, and we're building out a bunch of brand new stuff that we're going to roll out as well, right? But the whole idea is just helping churches get back to ministry using social media and technology to reach more people, right? To do ministry online. And sometimes you get caught up in all the emails and the tech and running a business and managing team members and all this different stuff, right? And trying to like collect all the testimonials we're hearing from churches and stories or whatever, and then email as quickly as we can back to the people that are upset, right? Like there's so much stuff that goes in. Just The same type of stuff that you guys are doing, pastoring your church, right? But to actually like just take a second and remember, like, wait a second, people are getting saved because of this. Like what we are doing, right? What you guys are doing is echoing in eternity, and it's having a ripple effect through heaven. So just remember that. Don't forget that. But what you do matters, right? Taking time to answer these prayers matters because it's having a ripple effect throughout all of heaven. Okay. Let's dive in. Let's take some questions here. We've got about 15 minutes. I want to make sure to answer any questions you guys have.
Hey, you guys can hit the space bar to unmute your mics. I think everybody's muted, but if you hit the space bar to unmute, that's a quick way to do it. Please jump in. Your questions help everybody.
Yep. Let's do it. If you have a question, I guarantee there's probably at least a dozen other people that do as well. So,
Jim.
Hey, Chris, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
ManyChat sends me these reminders every now and then about March 4th.
Yeah.
Is that going to change anything I need on my end?
No, it shouldn't affect anything that we do. So it's typically what it is Facebook is cracking down on the amount of businesses that are using this for like a promotional nature. They're trying to sell stuff, right? And they're basically just kind of spamming over and over and over every single day, trying to get people to buy stuff. So they're really just trying to do that. They don't want like what happened to email, right? In like 1999, as all of a sudden like people started realizing, wait, we can use email to sell stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, because like 1995, you're like pumped and you're like, you've got mail, right? Like now, like I get like 400 or 500 emails a day, right? Like emails, like, ugh, gosh, email. They don't want what happened to email to happen to Facebook Messenger. So they're basically cracking down on that. And all these businesses that are using it to like spam people or just to hit them up multiple times a day, try to get them to buy stuff. Because of the non-promotional nature of what we do, being churches and people are signing up to hear from us and having that interaction, none of it should affect us at all. But what we're doing is just going in and tagging some of the flows to make sure that it's compliant. But yeah, it's basically ManyChat just wants to make sure to let us know, but it shouldn't affect anything that we do because we're not trying to sell people stuff. We're not businesses, so we're good.
Okay.
Dave Warner.
Okay, Dave has a question. One of the areas that I see is the advertisement is focusing on just prayer. And I get that everyone needs prayer, but it's missing others as well. Dave, can you expand on that a little bit? What do you mean by the ad is missing others? I see, does anyone else have a question while we're waiting for him to kind of expand on that? And Dave, you can speak out loud or you can type it in the chat box, whichever one's easier, bro.
Yeah, I got a couple more if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I just unmuted Dave.
Okay. How do you include additional posts? Like, not that I want to mess up what you set up, but if I wanted to include additional posts to people who's already responded, not necessarily a broadcast to everybody. And I don't mean just responding to a question, but I want to have something that I offer everybody. Like they respond and I pray for them, and maybe in a couple of days I want to send something else to everybody who I do this for. How do I set that up?
Yeah, so it's basically one of two ways. One is a broadcast, right? So you go in and you literally click on there's a tab that says broadcasting inside of ManyChat. You go top right, it's like a blue button that says new broadcast, and then you just send that message and it can go out to everybody, or you can just send it to some of the people that are tagged, right? So you can just send it to the people that have planned to visit, or just send it to the people that have submitted a prayer request, or you can send it to everybody. And that's how you send that out, almost like an email, you send that out to everybody. If you just wanted to tell people one-on-one, you would just go into like through the Facebook page app or Messenger, whichever you're using, but you actually just go into the conversation itself and then just type it in and talk to them one-on-one. So if you want to have a one-on-one conversation, just go back into that conversation and reach out to them and just start typing, just like you sent the audio prayer. If you want to reach everybody, you would use a broadcast to send it out. But again, we recommend using the broadcast only about once a month. You could probably do it as much as twice a month. We just we recommend not using it that often because you just don't want Facebook to think that you are sending out too many of those messages. So once a month, twice a month tops, you should be fine on that.
Yeah. Well, I was referring to maybe in a couple days, hey, we're still praying for you. I also like to once again invite you to our church. In fact, I got a booklet or whatever it may be that I would like to give to you. Can you come? And I like to have that to go to everybody who responds, in a couple of days, instead of me having to go in there and physically having to do that.
So we already built that into the system, actually. So if someone submits a prayer request on Tuesday, right, and they go through that, then on Saturday they're going to get and they're automatically going to get an invite that invites them out to church, right, and just reaches out and just says, hey John, just wanted to reach out and remind you that we're having church tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Can you make it? Right, and so now they can. That's what like the soft plan your visit or the coming next week tags are inside of ManyChat. Is they said yes, I'll be there tomorrow. Or they said, oh, I can't make it this Sunday, but I'll be there next Sunday. And then we also have one that follows up 4 weeks down the road that literally comes in, pulls in their name, says, hey, John, about a month ago, you submitted a prayer request that said, whoosh, and it pulls in their prayer request that they submitted and says, just want to follow up with you and see how it's going. Right. So that way you don't have to remember to do that. But literally there's a Saturday invite already programmed in there into the system. And then there's a 30-day follow-up that follows up on their prayer request as well. Otherwise, you just have to do it manually where you go into each one and send it that way. Okay. Okay. All right. Dave, were you able to expand on your last question? Hey, Dave?
Chris, hi. I have a question if you have a chance.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Yeah, this is Bogdan. We've been on the program for about 1 month now.
Okay, awesome.
And we've tracked it. We've basically had about 12 actual physical human beings who came to our church.
Awesome.
So it's worked out really. This is great. I mean, and we've had like close to like 300 conversations with people that we're praying for. And just like you said, it's not marketing, it's ministry. And I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Like we're praying for somebody and then they message us. They're like, hey, I got the job, or my mom's not sick anymore. And we celebrate with them. So I feel like I'm pastoring a mega church.
Bro, seriously, you're pastoring your city now, right? You're not just pastoring like your church, you're pastoring your city. That's awesome.
Exactly. So this is my question.
Yeah.
Now that we've personally ran the ads for 1 month, how can we get some sort of a tweaking of our demographics? Like, for example, I know that we're in Irvine and it was reaching, 5 to 10 miles outside of our church radius. Is there a way that I can maybe figure out like, okay, let's tweak the demographic, let's increase the radius, change the zip code? Like, I'm talking now that we've done it for a month, I'd like to see how we can fine tune it to even optimize it even more. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, if you're talking about specifically like increasing the radius or something like that, you can definitely do that, man. You can just go into your ad and just, if it's set at 10 miles, you can bump it out to 12 miles or 15 miles if you want to. As far as the demographic is concerned, I wouldn't change anything on the demographic, and here's why. So from time to time, we'll get people say, hey, this is awesome, but it's reaching a lot of people between the 45 and 55 demo, but we really want to reach 25 to 40-year-olds or something, right? But it's important to know the ad is resonating, like the way it's like in the business world, we'd say like, hey, it's what the market has to say, right? So if the market is telling you that these are the people that are resonating with that ad, you don't want to mess with that, right? Like, so if you were to change the demographic, and I'm assuming you mean like age demo or something like that, if you were to change that demographic, it's not going to be as effective. So I don't recommend doing that, because what happens is, basically that ad, the people that are seeing your ad, right? Like those 25 to 40-year-olds, I'm just using that as an example. I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not. But let's say you're trying to reach 25 to 40-year-olds. Those people are still seeing your ad. They may not be submitting as many prayer requests as some of the other age demos or something, but understand they're seeing your ads and it's working on them too. Because just because someone doesn't interact with your ad, just because they don't submit a prayer request, doesn't mean that you're not creating goodwill with them. It doesn't mean that you're not planting those seeds. Right. So there becomes a part where you kind of hit this tipping point where now you're just walking in the harvest of the seeds you've been planting. And you'll know that works when you start going to coffee shops and people are like, dude, you're the Facebook prayer pastor guy. oh my gosh, right? And they may have never submitted a prayer request, right? But it's like a 35-year-old who's married and has 3 kids, and it's like the exact person that you're trying to reach. They may not have submitted a prayer request, but they see those ads every single week, and right, and it's doing the right things on their heart, planting those seeds, and they realize, oh my gosh, this is awesome, right? And so, but if you change the demographic, what happens is you've got this many people. Make sure I'm in the camera. You got this many people that you're reaching. If all of a sudden you say, oh, let's just go to 25 to 40-year-olds, you're only reaching this many people now. And since those people aren't necessarily resonating, like aren't submitting prayer requests at all anyway, all of a sudden your prayer requests can go like this, and they're just gonna go poof, and take a nosedive, right? And it can affect everything. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would recommend just like like running the demo that you're running. If you want to increase the radius, you can. But I would keep running to who you're running to because it's working. And even on the demographic that you're trying to reach, it's reaching them too, even if they're not sending the prayer requests. And it's just kind of playing the long game, right? Like just spending time.
Does this?
Go ahead.
Got it. And does it retarget or not?
So no, but it shows to people multiple times. The reason we don't want to do a retargeting ad with this is you're actually just going to throw your money away. It's actually, it's better with these types of ads. It's better to put the full budget you have. Like let's say it's $30 a day. It's better to put that $30 a day into this ad because those people are going to see it multiple times rather than put like $20 a day into this ad and $10 a day into a retargeting ad, because your retargeting ad is going to reach far fewer. So those $10 are going to go way farther if you just put them into the original ad, and people are still going to see them. Right, that frequency of how often they see the ads is going to keep going up. So at that point, you're just kind of playing the long game. Just keep doing it, and it will work. You'll reach that demographic. You'll reach the people you're looking to reach. And then we've got some things coming out here in the next couple of weeks that we can roll out. That's going to be kind of phase 2. So if you want to take it to the next level after the prayer ads, right? And we recommend running those for at least 60 to 90 days before you go to phase 2. But phase 2 that we've been split testing, that's just to give you a little hint, it's kind of based around discover your purpose, and we created a discover your purpose quiz that people can refer to, right? And that actually changes the demographic of the people that you reach. There's the people who are trying to discover their purpose already have a lot of their basic needs met, and they're kind of, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? We're going higher up on the.
Dang, bro.
Caleb's has a master's in marriage family counseling, so psychology is his thing. But that's what we're doing. Like the prayer ads, a lot of times speak to those people who are still kind of don't have all of their basic needs met, right? And they might have emotional things they're praying about, or marriage things, or kids, or whatever, right? But it's more that this goes higher up on the pyramid and kind of speaks to people that are trying to find their purpose, trying to find their calling. So it's going to reach a different demographic of people. And so far, it's been killing it. So we'll talk about that here in a couple of weeks when we finish testing all that and kind of roll that out. But right now, I would just go all in on the prayer ads, keep doing what you're doing, and just know you're reaching the demo that you want to reach, even if they're not sending in prayer requests.
We have a lot of questions in chat.
All right,
you might
let me
sift through them to make sure.
Okay, let me try to cruise through this because I have to leave in about 3 minutes. I have a meeting at the church.
I'm proud of you.
Bro, yeah. Hey, I'll listen, bro. I got names like bro. All right. So Jill, at what point do you recommend unsubscribing someone aside from the obvious they ask to be unsubscribed? Good question, Jill. I would never unsubscribe someone unless they ask. So unless they ask, or if they're being negative, right? Like if somehow they submitted a prayer request, but they're like being haters or submitting sarcastic, negative stuff, then sure, unsubscribe them. But it's kind of like email, right? If they don't ask to be unsubscribed, leave them on there. All right, let's see, Shane. Location address, not here back. Everyone is okay, so Shane, we've talked about this on previous calls. I like to hit it every week though, so I'm glad you brought it up. Is if you are getting people that are responding not from your city, that's a good thing. It doesn't mean that the ads are incorrectly targeted. What it means is that people who are in your radius and driving distance of your church are seeing the ad and it's resonating so much with them that they're sharing that on their personal profile, and then their friends are seeing that and responding, and their friends may live in the city, they may live on the other side of the state, they might live out of state. So if you're getting that, that's what happens. It just means people are seeing it, right? And Facebook loves when people like, comment, and share your ad, right? Because it means that it's resonating. So they start showing it to more people for less money. And that's exactly what's happening. If you have people that are answering from out of the city or from out of state, it's because it's resonating so much that some people are sharing that on their personal profile, which shares it with their friends. and then their friends are actually responding to it. So what we normally do is just pray for them, just like you normally do when when Auto invites them to church. They say, hey, actually, we're from Texas instead of Oklahoma. You say, oh, okay, great, no problem. Well, listen, we're praying for you, and here's a link to our live stream if you want to check it out on Sunday, right? That way they still have a chance to kind of join in on the church if you can here. So, all right, let's see. Joe asked on Instagram. So yeah, so Facebook will show this on Facebook. Facebook's algorithm is really really powerful. Facebook's going to show this on the desktop newsfeed. It's going to show up on the mobile newsfeed. They're going to show it on Instagram. They're going to show it all across these different platforms. And then wherever people are interacting with it the most, wherever you are getting the best bang for your buck, they're going to keep showing it on that place more. So they are showing it on Facebook. They are showing it on Instagram. Excuse me. Facebook wants you to be successful, so they're literally going to figure out what's working in your city, and they're going to keep doing more of that and scaling that up because they want you to keep paying them money. So they want you to be as successful as possible. So if you're getting more traction on Instagram, they'll keep showing it more on Instagram. If you're getting more traction on the desktop newsfeed in Facebook or the mobile newsfeed in Facebook, they're going to keep showing it there because they want you to be successful. So rest assured, Facebook's literally just constantly optimizing and helping you get the best bang for your buck and the most success. Jeannie, love the Discover Your Purpose quiz. Yeah, it's pretty dope. I'm super, super pumped about it. Let's see, do you have a PDF of the timeline of the automated messages and what they are? Help with training other staff. So Jerry, we don't have one. We probably could put one together, but it's pretty simple. Basically, all of the auto sequences happen the day that they submit a prayer request. And then that Saturday, if they plan to visit, they get a plan your visit reminder. Hey, excited to meet you tomorrow. Here's the time and location. If they didn't plan your visit, then they get another invite. It says, hey, just want to remind you we're having church tomorrow. And they'll get that on that Saturday, the Saturday after they submit the prayer request. And then they have the 30-day follow-up as well. So that's basically it. Is you basically the Saturday of the same week that they submit it, they're going to have either a plan your visit reminder, or if they didn't plan your visit, a Saturday invite, and then there's going to be a 30-day follow-up that's going to pull in their prayer request and automatically follow up with them, start that conversation again. Let's see here. Okay, I think that's been it. I gotta jet. I can take one more question if we have one more here before we roll out. Anybody else specifically have one? Dave, did you want to? I know Dave, you said you were talking. Do you want to expand on your question so we can make sure to get that answered before I roll out? Caleb just unmuted you.
I think I will talk to Caleb privately after.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. All right, rock and roll. Let's, man, Caleb, will you pray for us? And then we'll do this. Also, if you guys need, so we'll be introducing him here soon, but we just hired a new team member. His name is Eric. He's a pastor in Southern California. He's a complete stud. And basically, if you guys have been on these calls beforehand, we've been talking about, we've been growing so fast and onboarding so many churches. We've been basically pedaling as fast as we can to try to keep up, try to stay on top of email and customer support and all that kind of stuff. So we actually hired Eric to be able to come in and help with that because we've been growing so fast. So Eric's a stud. We'll introduce him here in the next couple of weeks to you guys. But just know that you'll probably be hearing from, like, if you send some emails, it'll probably be Eric responding to you. So